The Galactic Council had been in session for centuries, yet nothing in their long history had prepared them for what was about to appear on their sensors. High above a distant star cluster, Ambassador Ziril of the Zilari species sat at the Council's observation chamber, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the holographic star maps that floated in front of him. He was a creature of patience, a master diplomat, and a careful observer. And now, for the first time, he was puzzled. "Ambassador Ziril," called a voice over the chamber's intercom, tinged with urgency. "You need to see this." Ziril swiveled toward the display as the junior officer projected a new blip onto the main map. It was small but unmistakable, a human battleship. The Council had recorded humans as a primitive, minor spacefaring species. Their colonies barely reached the edges of their own solar system. Humans were clever, yes, but fragile. Ziril's antennae twitched in surprise. The blip moved with precision. It was not drifting aimlessly. The object had purpose, and it was massive, larger than any human ship they had previously catalogued. "Impossible," murmured Ziril, even though he knew better than to speak disbelief aloud. Humans, they should not have this kind of technology. Across the chamber, representatives of other species murmured among themselves. The Slithians, known for their analytical minds, calculated trajectories and energy signatures at lightning speed. The Vorthons, a reptilian species with a strict code of hierarchy, hissed in disbelief. The Council had never before considered that humans could develop something of this scale without detection. Ambassador Ziril straightened and addressed the room. "This is no ordinary ship. It appears fully armed, fully shielded, and it is moving deliberately. I recommend a full report before making any decisions. We may be witnessing the rise of an unexpected power." A wave of whispers filled the chamber. The Council was uneasy. Their meetings were normally orderly, filled with polite debate and careful planning. Now there was fear. Some feared human ingenuity. Others feared what would happen if the humans discovered them first. Meanwhile, light years away, Captain Elena Drake stood on the bridge of the battleship Indomitable. The ship itself was enormous, a sleek mix of metal alloys and adaptive shielding, humming with energy that even she sometimes could not fully comprehend. Yet Captain Drake treated it with casual familiarity. Her crew moved around her with quiet efficiency. "Elena, sensors detect several unknown vessels approaching," said Lieutenant Raj, her second in command. His tone was calm, but a trace of excitement showed in his voice. Drake leaned over the console, studying the data. The blips were uniform in size and shape. Fleet formation. They were watching the Indomitable. And judging by the readings, these vessels belonged to the Galactic Council. "First contact," Drake murmured almost to herself. She did not feel fear. Humans had faced danger before, though never on this scale. "Alert the crew. Keep shields at optimal levels. Engines on standby. We are explorers, not aggressors, but we will not be caught unprepared." Raj nodded, relaying her orders. The crew sprang into action with practiced precision, each person performing tasks that, while routine for them, would astound any outsider. In the alien sectors, humans were often underestimated. That would be a mistake. Back at the Council, debate erupted. "We cannot ignore this," shouted Admiral Valor of the Threxian fleet. "This species has developed weapons and defenses that rival our own fleets. We must act before they become a threat." "No," countered Ambassador Ziril, raising a delicate hand. "We do not yet know their intentions. They may be curious or even peaceful. An attack could spark unnecessary conflict." The discussion continued, voices overlapping, each member of the Council expressing fear, excitement, or suspicion. It was a rare moment of chaos in a body that prided itself on order. Meanwhile, Drake watched the approaching fleet through the ship's viewport. The alien vessels were beautiful in their own way. Elegant, deadly, and organized. They moved with precision, but there was something rigid about them. The humans, she realized, had an advantage: creativity and unpredictability. The Council relied on patterns, calculations, and centuries-old strategies. Humans could improvise. Humans could surprise. "Open communication channels," she ordered. "I want them to know we mean no harm." A holographic display activated, showing the Council's insignia, a circular emblem of multiple species joined together. Drake composed a message in the Council's universal translation protocol, careful to speak plainly. "Attention," her voice rang clearly across the void. "I am Captain Elena Drake of the human ship Indomitable. We come in peace. We are explorers and learners. We have no intention of aggression. We request dialogue, not conflict. On the council's observation deck, the message arrived like a ripple across calm water. The room fell silent. Then murmurs arose, confusion, curiosity, disbelief. Humans had broadcast a message to the entire council fleet. That was bold. That was audacious. And it was not what any of them expected. Admiral Vaylor's eyes narrowed. Boldness, he muttered. Or foolishness. Either way, they are defying our assumptions. Zyral's antennae twitched. It is remarkable, he admitted quietly, almost to himself. They are not afraid. They are direct, honest, and clear. This is human behavior. Back aboard the Indomitable, Drake's crew awaited a response. The tension was thick, but there was no fear. Humans were capable of courage, and courage often meant standing firm in the face of uncertainty. The alien fleet hesitated. They were trained to react immediately, to assert dominance, to crush emerging threats before they could grow. Yet something about the human approach disrupted that pattern. No blaster fire, no evasive maneuvers, only a calm, confident presence. The humans were different. Hours passed. Finally, a response arrived, not through words but through action. A single alien vessel detached from the formation, slowly approaching the human battleship. Its movement was cautious, almost reverent. "Prepare for first contact," Drake said, her voice steady. "Remember, curiosity can be as powerful as weaponry. We are the unknown variable in their calculations. Let's use it wisely." The alien ship drew near, its energy signature pulsating in patterns the humans could barely understand. Through the viewport, its sleek hull reflected the distant stars. It was a symbol of centuries of advanced technology, yet it moved as though testing the waters. Drake smiled faintly. "History will remember this moment. Let's make it count." The council watched with bated breath. They had come to expect order, control, and predictability, and now they were forced to confront something new. Humans. Small in number, bold in spirit, and entirely unpredictable. As the alien envoy came closer, the council members whispered among themselves, a mixture of fear and fascination in their voices. For the first time in their long history, they realized that humans were not just another species. They were a force of ingenuity, courage and audacity that might change the galaxy forever. And aboard the Indomitable, Captain Elena Drake stood tall, knowing that this first encounter could define humanity's place in the stars. It was a quiet moment, yet it was electric with possibility. The galaxy had just met a human battleship, and nothing would ever be the same again. The stars stretched out endlessly before them, full of danger and discovery. But humans were ready. Humans had never faced the unknown without hope, without courage, without the belief that ingenuity and cooperation could overcome even the greatest of challenges. In that silent, vast expanse of space, the first threads of a new galactic story were being woven, a story in which humans would play a role far larger than anyone, council or alien, could yet imagine. The Indomitable drifted forward, steady, confident, and alive with possibility, and the Galactic Council, for all its power and wisdom, could only watch and wonder. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension. Ambassador Zyral's report on the human battleship had ignited a storm of debate. Some species saw humans as a minor curiosity, harmless, slow, and insignificant. Others, like Admiral Vaylor of the Threxians, saw danger. "They are stronger than we expected," Vaylor snapped, claws tapping on the armrest of his chair. "Their ship's shields are extraordinary, and their weapons are unlike anything we have encountered. If we do not act now, they could grow into a threat we cannot stop." Zyral leaned forward, his voice calm but firm. "Admiral, we must not confuse difference with threat. Humans are unusual, yes, but so were many species when they first reached space. Aggression could create enemies where none exist." From the other side of the chamber, Lady Tisla of the Vorthons hissed, her scales bristling. "You suggest we simply observe? While this human ship drifts near our borders?" Zyral nodded. "Observation is our duty, and perhaps communication. The humans may respond to reason." The chamber erupted in argument. Some wanted immediate military action, some suggested waiting to see what humans would do. A few, like Zyral, argued for diplomacy. Each faction presented calculations, predictions, and historical examples. Yet none could ignore one fact: humans were unpredictable. Far away in the vast emptiness of uncharted space, the Indomitable floated like a silent sentinel. Captain Elena Drake observed the alien fleet approaching. It was larger than she had imagined. Dozens of ships perfectly organized, advancing with the precision of centuries of military discipline. "Captain," said Lieutenant Raj, "the Council's fleet is maintaining formation. They haven't opened fire, but they are clearly assessing us. Shields are at maximum. Engines ready. Weapons on standby." Drake studied the approaching ships through the viewport. "Good. Let them see that we are prepared but not aggressive. We are explorers first, humans second, and fighters only if forced. Keep scanning their vessels. I want to know their capabilities and weaknesses before they know ours." The crew moved efficiently, adjusting shields, running sensor sweeps, and checking communications. It was routine, but it impressed even Drake. Humans had trained for the unexpected, and this situation demanded everything they had learned. On the Council side, the fleet commander, Admiral Vaylor, frowned. He had expected an easy display of power. In his experience, any emerging species would scatter or submit. Humans did neither. They maintained formation, prepared for defense, and, most unnerving, they had communicated openly without fear. "They are unusual," Vaylor admitted, though no one could hear his words over the chamber's chatter. "Prepare reconnaissance vessels. Send a delegation if necessary, but stay alert. I do not trust their confidence." Meanwhile, Captain Drake decided to test the aliens' intentions. She launched a small probe from the Indomitable, designed for communication and observation. It hovered between the human battleship and the alien fleet, broadcasting a friendly signal. On the lead alien vessel, sensors picked up the probe. The alien crew, trained for aggression and caution, paused. The probe transmitted human messages, images of the crew, ship schematics, and a simple statement: "We wish to communicate, not to fight." The aliens were stunned. No species they had encountered had ever sent detailed information voluntarily. Most would hide, bluff, or threaten. Humans offered transparency. The Council fleet slowed its advance, uncertain how to respond. Back in the chamber, Zyril watched the readings from the alien fleet. "They are cautious," he said. "They are not attacking. That is unusual behavior. Perhaps humans are not a threat, but a test of patience and understanding." Admiral Vaylor's claws clenched. "Test of patience? Or trickery? We cannot underestimate them. Send the main fleet forward. I want them surrounded, but do not engage. Yet." Drake saw the movement on her sensors. The aliens were positioning their ships, trying to encircle the Indomitable. She did not panic. Instead, she considered her options carefully. Humans had never relied solely on strength. They relied on strategy, intelligence, and creativity. "Prepare tactical simulations," Drake ordered. "We may need to demonstrate our capabilities. Not to attack, but to show we are not defenseless. Display our agility patterns, deploy the drones, and ready the defensive grids. Keep communication lines open." The crew obeyed. The Indomitable's systems hummed with energy as drones and defense arrays activated. The aliens watched in surprise as the human ship moved with fluid, unpredictable patterns. The drones performed maneuvers that seemed chaotic at first, but in reality, were perfectly calculated to test the aliens' reactions. From the Council chamber, Zyril observed the data. "They are thinking differently," he muttered. "Every move is a lesson in unpredictability. Humans are not just strong, they are clever." Admiral Vaylor hissed in frustration. "Cleverness cannot replace firepower, but their unpredictability, it is unnerving. Maintain distance. Do not provoke hours past." The Indomitable and the alien fleet danced through space in a tense, silent standoff. No weapons fired. No attacks were launched. Yet both sides learned much from the encounter. The humans demonstrated discipline, control, and strategic brilliance. The aliens realized that humans could not be dismissed. Drake decided it was time to communicate again. She activated the main communication array. "We understand you are cautious." Her voice transmitted across the void. "We respect your caution. We come in peace. If you wish to understand us, we are willing to speak openly. We have knowledge to share, and we wish to learn from you as well." The Council listened. The message was clear, calm, and firm. Zyril could not hide his admiration. Humans had a unique quality: confidence without arrogance, openness without weakness. The message unsettled many of the alien representatives. They had faced countless species, but few had ever presented themselves so directly. "Ambassador Zyril," hissed Lady Tisla, "are you suggesting we trust them?" "I am suggesting," Zyril replied carefully, "that we observe and learn. Humans are not predictable in the way we expect. That is both a risk and an opportunity. Valor slammed a clawed hand on the armrest. Opportunity, perhaps. But we cannot ignore the threat. Prepare the fleet for potential engagement. Keep communications open, but do not underestimate them. Back on the Indomitable, Drake's crew worked tirelessly, running simulations and preparing defensive strategies. She knew the Council would eventually want a formal meeting. Humans were entering a new phase in galactic history, one where diplomacy, strategy, and courage would be tested against species with centuries of experience. Drake walked along the bridge, observing her crew. Each member was calm, focused, and ready. She smiled faintly. Humans had faced danger before, war, disaster, even the unknown. And they had survived because they relied on more than just technology. They relied on ingenuity, courage, and trust in one another. Prepare the landing party, Drake said finally. We may be called for first contact soon. I want us ready to demonstrate who we are, not as conquerors but as humans who can stand confidently among the stars. The Indomitable moved slightly, signaling readiness and confidence. The alien fleet paused, sensing that humans were prepared for anything yet not aggressive. This balance, the courage to defend, the wisdom to avoid conflict, was something few species had mastered. In the council chamber, debate continued. Some members admired humans' bravery, others worried about the implications. For the first time, the council faced a species that could not be predicted or controlled. A species that might not bow to centuries-old hierarchies or tactics. Zaryl observed the humans with fascination. They are young, he said softly, but they are remarkable. We may have underestimated them, as many did when we first encountered new species. Humans. They may redefine what it means to be powerful in this galaxy. Admiral Valor growled softly, his scales bristling. Redefine power? They are dangerous. Keep the fleet ready. We cannot allow surprises. As the day ended, the first true standoff in human history came to a quiet pause. No weapons fired, no lives lost, and yet the entire galaxy felt the tremor of change. Humans had arrived, confident, capable, and unafraid. Captain Drake stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, looking at the stars. She knew that the Council would not fully understand humanity yet, but she also knew this. The galaxy would remember this day. The first contact was not violent, but it had made an impression. Humans were no longer minor players, they were a species to watch. The standoff had lasted for hours. The Galactic Council's fleet hovered silently around the human battleship Indomitable, scanning, analyzing, and calculating. Every sensor and every probe sent to the humans returned data that baffled the alien species. Humans were unlike any other species the Council had encountered, agile, clever, and unpredictable. Captain Elena Drake stood on the bridge, watching the alien fleet with calm eyes. Her crew moved with quiet precision, adjusting shields and running simulations of potential attacks, but she did not panic. Humans had always relied on creativity as much as technology, and in space, creativity was often more powerful than sheer force. Captain, said Lieutenant Raj, pointing to the sensor console, the Council ships are trying to predict our movements. They're analyzing our patterns, but they can't match them. Drake nodded. Good, that's exactly what I wanted. Humans don't follow patterns, they adapt. Let's keep them guessing. The Council Fleet Commander, Admiral Valor, glared at the displays. His officers reported repeated failures. Lasers, particle beams, and missile tests had no effect. The Indomitable's shields absorbed the energy with minimal strain, and the ship's maneuvers were unlike any calculated trajectory they had ever seen. They are adapting, Valor muttered under his breath. Every attempt we make to strike or intimidate them, they counter before we even finish. Zaryl, observing from the council chamber, noted the growing tension. Their tactics are unorthodox, he said softly. They think differently. Humans do not rely solely on strength. They anticipate, they improvise, and they respond instantly. This is what makes them formidable. Back on the Indomitable, Drake decided it was time to demonstrate humanity's unseen advantage. Not just strength, but ingenuity. She activated the ship's advanced AI network, which ran simulations in real time, predicting the Council fleet's reactions before they even happened. Drones launched from the battleship, weaving between alien ships with precision that seemed chaotic but was perfectly calculated. Look at them, Raj said, eyes wide. The council can't anticipate these moves. It's like we're inside their heads before they even think. Drake smiled. That's humans. We don't just respond to situations, we change the rules of the game. The alien fleet hesitated. For the first time, they realized that humans were not simply defending, they were demonstrating capability. The council had faced countless species over millennia, but none had ever combined technology, strategy, and intuition like this. The humans' unpredictability made them a puzzle the council could not solve. A small scout vessel from the alien fleet moved closer, observing the Indomitable's maneuvers. Sensors recorded every detail: the ship's shield energy flow, the timing of its evasive moves, the precision of its drones. Yet even with advanced calculations, the aliens could not predict the next action. Zero leaned forward in his chair, antennae twitching. It's not just their technology, he said. It's their thinking. Humans see patterns where others see chaos. They improvise solutions instantly.
They adapt. This
is dangerous, Valor hissed. Dangerous or brilliant? They are clever, yes, but cleverness cannot replace firepower. Prepare to encircle them fully. Do not let them escape. Meanwhile, Drake made another calculated decision. She sent a small group of probes toward the alien ships, not to attack, but to communicate. Each probe projected holographic simulations of human strategies, defensive patterns, coordinated movements, and controlled maneuvers that emphasized skill over aggression. The aliens were stunned. They had never seen a species willingly share its capabilities so openly. Humans were not hiding. They were showing their strength while maintaining a peaceful stance. Back at the council chamber, debate flared once more. This is unprecedented, Lady Tisla hissed. They are teaching us how they fight, without firing a single weapon. What kind of species does this? Zero replied thoughtfully. They are confident in themselves. They trust their minds and their skills. They are not reckless, but they are fearless in ways we cannot predict. This is why they are remarkable. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Drake watched the alien fleet's hesitation. She knew the council's advisors would soon recommend a formal approach. Humans had already demonstrated that they were not to be underestimated, not by strength alone, but by intelligence, ingenuity, and adaptability. Captain, Raj said, they are signaling. I think they want to communicate directly. Drake nodded. Prepare a message. Keep it clear, concise, and honest. Humans speak directly, and that is our greatest advantage. Let's show them who we are. The message transmitted across the void: we are humans. We explore, we defend. We do not seek conflict, but we are prepared to protect ourselves. We invite dialogue, not combat. The council received the message and paused. Cyril felt a shift in the atmosphere. The other members whispered, debated, and analyzed, but they could not hide their awe. Humans were not simply surviving. They were controlling the situation without firing a shot. Valor scowled. They are audacious. Their confidence is unsettling.
Keep the fleet ready.
We may need to act if they do not cooperate. Yet even Valor could not deny the human skill. The Indomitable had not only survived the initial encounter, it had turned it into a demonstration of power, restraint, and strategy. The council was forced to reconsider its assumptions. Drake decided it was time to push further. She activated the ship's long-range sensors and began sending real-time data back to the aliens. Star maps, asteroid trajectories, energy readings, all shared without hesitation. The humans were transparent, yet in doing so they revealed their superiority in planning, precision, and adaptability. The council fleet watched in silence. Each alien commander realized that aggression could not overcome humans' adaptability. Every calculated attack was met with a counter that was not random, but carefully measured. Humans had an advantage that no traditional weapon could surpass: the ability to think differently. Cyril observed the council chamber. They are teaching us a lesson, he said quietly. Not in combat, but in thought. Humans do not follow expectations. They redefine what is possible. This changes everything. Back aboard the Indomitable, Drake prepared for the next phase. She knew that a formal meeting with the council was inevitable. Humans had made a statement, and now the galaxy would respond. But she was not worried. Humans had always faced the unknown with courage, creativity, and unity. And that was something the council could neither predict nor control. As night fell across the distant star system, the Indomitable moved with quiet grace. The alien fleet remained nearby, cautious and watchful. Both sides had learned much. Humans had shown that strength was more than weapons. The Council had seen that courage and ingenuity could shift the balance of power without firing a single shot. Drake walked along the bridge, observing her crew. Each member was calm, prepared, and focused. They had faced uncertainty before, but never on this scale. Humans had survived disasters, wars, and exploration in the unknown, and they had done so by relying on each other and on their ability to think differently. "Prepare a presentation for the Council," Drake said finally. "We may need to demonstrate our capabilities in a more formal way. Show them our strategy, our adaptability, and our willingness to cooperate. Humans do not fight to dominate. We fight to survive and to protect. That is what makes us strong." The Indomitable shimmered under the starlight, its hull reflecting distant suns. For the first time, the Council truly understood the humans' unseen advantage. They were not the strongest by size or firepower, but they were unmatched in strategy, creativity, and courage. In the Council chamber, Zyril whispered, "If we underestimate them, we do so at our own peril. Humans may be young, but they are already changing the rules of the galaxy." Valor, still tense, gritted his teeth. "We will see," he said. "They are impressive, yes, but time will tell if they are a threat or something more." The Indomitable drifted through space, calm and prepared, a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, humans were ready, not just to survive, but to thrive, to challenge expectations, and to leave an indelible mark on the galaxy. The first true test of human advantage was over. The Council had seen it, and the galaxy had felt it, and Captain Elena Drake knew that this was only the beginning. Humans had shown their strength. But their true power, their unseen advantage, was far greater than anyone could imagine. The Indomitable glided into the neutral sector, a place set aside by the Galactic Council for first contacts and diplomatic meetings. Vast stations floated in the void, massive constructs of metal, glass, and alien architecture. They were designed to impress, to show power and history. But Captain Elena Drake did not need grand displays. Humans had never relied on appearances. "Captain," Lieutenant Raj said, eyes on the navigation console, "the Council fleet is positioning near the station. They're giving us a clear path. They want a meeting." Drake nodded. "Good. Maintain course, shields at optimal, weapons offline unless needed for defense. This is diplomacy, not war." Her crew moved efficiently, preparing landing shuttles, communication arrays, and documentation for the Council. They were ready to demonstrate humanity's intentions clearly and honestly. Inside the station, the Council awaited. Representatives of dozens of species filled the chamber. Ambassadors, admirals, and elders whispered nervously, some curious, some skeptical. The human battleship had stunned them, but now it was time to see the species behind the ship. When Drake's shuttle docked, she stepped onto the platform, flanked by her officers. She walked with calm confidence. The Council watched closely. Humans did not bow, did not flaunt their technology. They stood firm, clear-eyed, and composed. Zyril, who had been observing from the front row, whispered to the Vorthan beside him, "Notice their posture. They do not show fear nor arrogance. They simply are." The human delegation entered the chamber. Drake spoke first in a clear, direct tone. "I am Captain Elena Drake of the human ship Indomitable. We have come to demonstrate our intent: exploration, cooperation, and learning. We seek no conflict, and we will not deceive. We offer transparency, honesty, and collaboration." A murmur ran through the room. The Council had never experienced such directness. Most species relied on subtlety, diplomacy woven with hidden agendas. Humans, in contrast, were straightforward. There was power in their simplicity. Admiral Valor leaned forward. "Captain Drake," he said, voice low but firm, "your species has surprised us. Your ship, your tactics, they defy expectation. Explain. Why do you show strength while seeking peace?" Drake smiled slightly. "We believe that strength is not a weapon to intimidate, but a tool to protect. Humans have survived by combining intelligence, courage, and cooperation. We show our strength not to conquer, but to assure that we are capable of defense. And when others see that we are willing to protect life and maintain peace, perhaps they will trust us." Zyril felt a ripple of admiration. Humans were not just strong, they were wise in their approach. Other members of the Council whispered among themselves, surprised at the clarity and honesty of the human words. To demonstrate further, Drake activated a holographic display above the chamber. Star maps, ship schematics, and tactical simulations appeared. The simulations were detailed. They showed coordinated maneuvers, defensive formations, and problem-solving strategies the humans had practiced. Every move emphasized skill over aggression. Every response was calculated for efficiency and minimal risk. The council watched in awe. The humans' methods were not only effective, they were elegant. They revealed power without arrogance, capability without threat. The simulations illustrated not just technology, but intelligence, adaptability, and teamwork. "Impressive," whispered Lady Tisla of the Vorthons. "They display no fear, yet they are not reckless. Every move is deliberate," Zerel nodded. "They think differently. Humans do not follow tradition blindly. They anticipate, improvise, and adapt. That is why they are formidable." Valor clenched his claws in frustration. "Formidable or reckless? I cannot yet decide. But their clarity is unnerving." Drake continued, sharing humanity's philosophy. "We do not conquer worlds for resources. We do not dominate through fear. Humans value life, cooperation, and exploration. Our strength is a promise, not a threat. We seek allies, not subjects." The council remained silent, listening intently. Some were impressed. Some were skeptical. All were captivated. The humans' combination of honesty, strategy, and calm confidence was unlike anything they had encountered. To further demonstrate goodwill, Drake suggested a joint exercise. "We can work together," she said, "to show how humans cooperate and how we can assist in exploration or defense. This is not a challenge. It is an opportunity for understanding." The council agreed, cautiously at first. A simulation room was prepared with holographic fields representing space scenarios. Human officers coordinated with alien delegates, navigating asteroid belts, responding to simulated threats, and demonstrating strategy in real time. The aliens were amazed. Humans adapted instantly to unexpected obstacles, coordinated across differences in language, thought, and culture, and solved problems collaboratively. Their actions were not dictated by fear, but by intelligence and creativity. Zerel leaned back, antennae twitching with admiration. "Humans are extraordinary. They combine courage, intelligence, and adaptability in a way we have never seen. They do not dominate, they inspire." Even Admiral Valor could not hide a grudging respect. The humans' methods were effective yet non-aggressive. Their confidence was rooted not in dominance, but in skill and teamwork. After hours of observation, the council requested a private discussion with Captain Drake. In a smaller chamber, Zerel Valor and other key representatives met with the humans. Drake spoke clearly without hesitation. "We understand your caution," she said. "We know humans are young in galactic terms, but we are capable of learning, adapting, and contributing. We ask not for dominance or control, but for respect and understanding. Together we can achieve much more than alone." The alien leaders exchanged glances. Some were skeptical, but none could deny the humans' clarity, honesty, and capability. The human approach was unlike anything they had encountered. Direct, transparent, and confident without arrogance. Zerel spoke finally. "Captain Drake, your species is remarkable. You have shown courage, intelligence, and adaptability. You have not sought conflict, yet you demonstrate strength. The council must deliberate, but your presence here will not be forgotten." Drake nodded. "That is all we ask, that humans be recognized as capable, trustworthy participants in galactic affairs. We are ready to contribute, to learn, and to assist wherever we can." As the humans departed the chamber, a wave of respect and curiosity spread among the council members. They had faced countless species, yet few had ever impressed them so thoroughly. Humans had achieved something extraordinary. They had gained attention, respect, and cautious admiration without firing a weapon. On the Indomitable, the crew celebrated quietly. They had not conquered, but they had made an impact. They had shown the galaxy that humans were capable, honest, and resilient. Their strength lay not just in technology, but in ingenuity, teamwork, and courage. Captain Drake looked out at the stars, thoughtful. The council had been impressed, but she knew challenges remained. Not all species would accept humans easily, and some would fear them. But humans had taken the first step. They had shown their true character, and it was impossible to ignore. "Humans are remarkable," Raj said, his voice filled with quiet awe. Drake smiled. "Yes, Lieutenant, but this is only the beginning. We have made our first mark, but the galaxy is vast and many challenges await. We must continue to show who we are, not just in strength, but in how we think, how we act, and how we cooperate. The stars outside shimmered like diamonds in the void, endless and full of possibility. The humans had arrived, and the council could not ignore them. The galaxy had witnessed their ingenuity, their courage, and their honesty, and Captain Drake knew that the next steps would define humanity's place among the stars. The meeting had ended, but its effects would ripple through the galaxy. Humans had shown that they were not to be underestimated. They were young, yes, but they had already begun to reshape perceptions. And in doing so, they had planted the seeds for a future where humans might not only survive but thrive, respected and recognized across the stars. The Indomitable prepared to depart, leaving the neutral station behind. The Council fleet watched silently. Humans had not fired a shot. Yet they had achieved something that few species ever managed: awe, respect, and a cautious curiosity that would linger for generations. Captain Drake stood on the bridge, calm, confident, and ready. Humanity had proven itself. The next phase of exploration, diplomacy, and growth awaited, and humans were prepared to meet it as they always had, with courage, intelligence, and unwavering resolve. The galaxy had met humans, and it would never be the same. The neutral sector space station fell silent after the human delegation departed. The Galactic Council gathered once again to discuss the unprecedented events of the last several days. The humans had arrived, not with weapons drawn, but with confidence, clarity, and skill. They had shown strength without aggression, strategy without malice, and honesty without weakness. Ambassador Zirel of the Zilari was the first to speak. "We have witnessed something extraordinary. Humans are not merely survivors. They are thinkers, innovators, and capable leaders. They have shown courage, wisdom, and integrity in equal measure. I believe they deserve a place among our deliberations." Whispers of agreement and skepticism ran through the chamber. Admiral Vaylor, the most cautious of the council, remained silent for a long moment, staring at the displays of human tactics and strategy. Then he spoke, his voice low but steady. "They are clever, unpredictable. Their technology is impressive, but it is their minds that concern me most. We cannot ignore them. They may be young, but they are capable of changing the balance of power." Lady Tisla hissed softly. "Do we truly trust them? Or do we simply respect their abilities?" Zyral's antennae twitched. "We respect them because they have earned it. Trust may take longer, but their actions demand acknowledgement." Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Captain Elena Drake prepared for the journey home. Her crew moved with quiet satisfaction, knowing that humans had made a remarkable first impression. They had not fought a battle, yet they had demonstrated strength and ingenuity that few species could match. "Set course for Earth," Drake said calmly. "We have done our duty here. Now we return to share what we have learned and to prepare for the future. Humanity's place in the galaxy is no longer uncertain." Lieutenant Raj nodded. "Captain, the Council will remember this. We've proven that humans are not just survivors, they are leaders in thought, courage, and strategy." Drake smiled faintly. "Good, but this is only the beginning. Humanity must continue to grow, to learn, and to show the galaxy what we are capable of. One encounter does not define us, but it can open doors." Back at the council, a vote was called. After hours of deliberation, the result was clear. Humans would be granted observer status within the council. They would not yet have full voting power, but they would be allowed to participate in missions, provide counsel, and contribute to discussions. The decision surprised few. Humans had shown that they could think independently, act decisively, and contribute positively to galactic stability. They were no longer a minor species. They were a force to be acknowledged. Admiral Vaylor grunted. "Observer status is acceptable, for now, but I will continue to monitor them. Humans are remarkable, yes, but we must remain vigilant." Cyril smiled softly. "Remarkable is exactly what they are. And perhaps in time, they will teach us more than we ever imagined." As the Indomitable left the neutral sector, the crew gathered on the bridge to watch the stars stretch endlessly ahead. Each star represented a potential world, a new opportunity, and countless possibilities. Humanity had proven itself, but the galaxy was vast, full of unknowns, challenges, and adventures waiting to unfold. Drake turned to her crew. "Today we have made history. The Council knows who we are, and the galaxy knows not to underestimate humans. But this is not the end. It is a beginning, a chance to shape the future, to explore, to learn, and to protect. Humanity must continue to rise to every challenge. Her crew nodded, understanding the gravity of their achievement. They had faced uncertainty, the unknown, and the expectations of countless alien species, and they had succeeded without firing a weapon. Humans had relied on ingenuity, teamwork, and courage, and it had worked. During the journey home, the Indomitable became a symbol of human potential. Communications were sent to Earth, reporting the first successful contact and the lessons learned. Scientists, strategists, and diplomats on Earth marveled at the ingenuity displayed by humans in the face of uncertainty. On Earth, celebrations began. People watched the reports of Captain Drake's journey and the humans' achievements. The first encounter with the Galactic Council was not just a diplomatic success. It was a moment of pride, of hope, and of inspiration for all humanity. Drake walked through the ship quietly, observing her crew as they prepared for re-entry. She felt pride, not just for the ship's success, but for the spirit of humanity it represented. Humans had shown the galaxy that courage, creativity, and honesty could achieve what brute force often could not. At a ceremony upon landing, Drake addressed the gathered humans. "We have been tested, and we have succeeded. Not through weapons or aggression, but through skill, intelligence, and integrity. Humanity now stands recognized among the stars. Our journey has only begun. Let this be a reminder that we are capable of greatness, and that our choices define who we are, not just as individuals, but as a species." The crowd erupted in cheers. Children looked at the sky, imagining the possibilities of space exploration. Scientists and engineers returned to their work, inspired to push humanity further. Humanity had made its first mark on the galaxy, and it was a mark of respect, not fear. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council, discussions continued. Humans had impressed many, but some still felt unease. Their unpredictability, creativity, and courage were not fully understood. And in a galaxy where centuries of tradition and strategy dominated, unpredictability could be a challenge. Zyril, however, remained optimistic. "They are young, yes," he said, watching reports of the humans' return, "but they have shown qualities that cannot be taught. Courage, ingenuity, and adaptability. Humans are more than we expected, and perhaps more than we are ready to comprehend. Their future will shape the galaxy in ways we cannot yet imagine." Admiral Vaylor grumbled but could not deny the truth. Humans had demonstrated power, intelligence, and strategic skill that rivaled the oldest species in the Council. "Watch them carefully," he muttered. "But perhaps there is more to learn from them than we first believed." As the Indomitable rested in orbit around Earth, its crew looked out at the planet below. Blue oceans, green continents, and clouds swirling above. They were home, but the stars awaited. Humanity had made its first mark beyond the solar system, and the journey was far from over. Captain Drake stood on the observation deck, watching the sun rise over Earth. She felt a sense of calm determination. Humans had proven themselves worthy of respect, not just among the Council but among the stars themselves. And the galaxy, vast and full of challenges, would soon learn that humans were a species to be reckoned with. Not through domination, but through courage, intelligence, and unity. "Prepare for debriefing," she said, her voice calm but firm. "Humanity has made history, and we will continue to shape the future. The stars are ours to explore, the Council our partners to learn from, and the galaxy, our home to protect." As the crew began their work, Drake allowed herself a small smile. Humans had faced the unknown, impressed the galaxy, and returned stronger, wiser, and ready for the next chapter. The first encounter with a human battleship had shaken the Galactic Council, but it had also opened the doors to a future filled with possibilities, hope, and adventure. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the Earth's atmosphere, shining like beacons of promise. Humanity had proven that courage, ingenuity, and honesty could change perceptions, earn respect, and create opportunities. The galaxy had met humans, and it would never be the same again. And so humanity's journey continued, stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever challenges the universe might present. The Indomitable rested in orbit, a symbol of human potential, and a reminder that the smallest, seemingly ordinary species could rise to meet the greatest challenges. The first encounter had ended, But the story of humans in the galaxy had only just begun.